What's up, people? Hey, twisted people out there, charmed watchers, fans. I don't know. Are we still fans? I don't know. Thank you all for joining me and my mama. I am Chauncey K. Robinson, aka Twisted Woman CKR, and I'm joined by the woman who made it all possible by making me possible, Karen Robinson, my mama. And today we are talking Charmed. Not really episode 17. I mean, we're going to talk about episode 17 because we got to talk about some of the stuff that happened in it. But we got to talk about the pink elephant in the room, right? We got to talk about the major cast announcement that we got for those of you who might not know, because, I mean, not everyone's on the interwebs. I try not to be on social media as much anymore these days and things like that. And I heard it through the news grapevine that our dear Madeline, our dear Macie is not coming back for season 4. I remember when we were all super excited for the announcement of season 4, because, you know, Charmed, the reboot, is not the biggest, like Gladiator when it comes to the rating. So it was good to hear that we got a season 4, and I was very excited to see where they'd go with her, Macie, the character, in the next season. I mean, this season was kind of hit and miss. And if I'm being honest, a little bit more miss than hit. And so to hear that the character and the actress, who I also was one of the reasons why I started watching this show, is going, it's not, I'm not very happy about it, y'all. And I know there's going to be speculation. People already have their own theories about why Madeline is leaving. And, one thing I want to encourage is that we don't fall into blaming other actors and, other actors on the show. I know some people are already trying to say it was like her and Poppy, Abby was having an issue, but it looks like Abby is leaving too. So if we go by this episode 17, so 2 of my fave characters aren't going to be there anymore. And so I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to have to think about whether or not I'm going to keep recapping this show, mainly because, like I said, I've been having issues with this season anyway. And if this is kind of the area, if we are seeing this is the way the showrunners are kind of taking things, I'm not about hate watching shows. So I'm definitely going to have to think about whether or not I'm okay with sitting through 45 minutes or so every week for a show I'm not super invested in as much anymore. There are still characters that I care about, and I'm invested in for the most part, but I don't know if it's on the same level that I was for Macie enough. I mean, it's kind of like history repeating itself, lady, because I left once Shannon Doherty left in the first one. When Shannon Doherty was, when her character Prudence was killed off, I was done. I was there for her. I didn't particularly care for the other sister. I thought they was cool, but my main thing was Shannon Doherty. And once she bounced, so did I. So, so weird. It's so weird. So what are your thoughts, lady? And let us know in the chat. I'm just going to put it out there. Here's the hard question. Are you thinking you're going to, and let us know in the chat and also in the replay. Thanks for all of you who are joining us in the chat and the replay. Do you think you will continue with season 4 now that Macie's character won't be there anymore, potentially? What are y'all thoughts? And lady, I'm going to throw it to you on that question. Are you trying to continue with season 4?
I have to, especially if they do that cliffhanger on me with Macie and Harry. I have to find out what happened there. I just want to see the beginning, how they're gonna bring it back if they do that. And I'm sorry that Macie is leaving, the actress that's playing her. And also, well, in a way, this whole episode, well, the last episode, so it just didn't make sense,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Now, y'all know, are we talking generally? But this whole episode was not, they didn't do this right. That's what I'm saying. They
Oh, what are
could,
you talking about? You're talking about episode 17?
yeah, they could have did it better. I mean, come on. Now, if you're gonna freeze something, wouldn't common sense tell you it's gonna unfreeze?
Okay, but lady, we didn't get to all those details. I'm asking you, are you going to watch season 4?
Of course, because I gotta find out what's gonna come, how they gonna end. You know,
So
come on.
you're okay with the fact that Macie won't be in season 4?
Yeah, I look for all of them. I'm not just on. See, that's y'all on one character or whatever. I took it as a whole group, and I have even when like you said, when Prudence left you left, but your mama kept going on.
You did. It's funny enough. You kept watching after Prue. I left. I stopped.
Up to the last part of them. So I think I just have to take it up from there with you. I just got to continue and let you know what's going on. Come in. Just thing.
Mute the thing when you type. You're gonna all right. So Ray is saying, "Lol, Chauncey, LOL. It is the curse, LOL. You were out when Prue left too. You done. This is you done. This is the second to last of your charm recast. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I like the Maggie and Jordan thing. I'm actually very invested in Maggie and Jordan. But then again, the actor that plays Jordan is pretty hot commodity on Broadway. Who knows if he'll stay? I mean, funny enough, I guess it's liking people who are really in demand that they may or may not choose to want to stay for things. Erica is saying, once Madeline leaves, I don't know if I can keep watching. She was the show for me and my Macie. Yes. Andrew, thanks for joining us in the chat. Andrew is saying, from what I've seen, Madeline got along with everyone. So maybe she wanted to move on to new projects.
True.
Blake is saying, it depends on how they handle Macie's exit from the show. I might watch the season 4 premiere out of curiosity, but I'm not as excited about it as I originally was. Lola is saying, Sarah was the reason why I wanted to watch the reboot. I fell in love with all the sisters. I'll miss Macie, but I want to see what happens next.
Me too.
Lotus is saying, I really thought Jordan was leaving because his character needs a break. Let's see. Deb is saying, this news ruined my whole day. I am not watching season 4. I started watching because of Madeline and I stayed for Macie. Damie is saying, it was Macie that drew me into the show. Macie, the sisters, Bond, and Hasty are the reason. I don't know if I'll keep watching, but I think I'll watch the first few episodes of season 4. But if it doesn't feel right, I'll stop watching. Yeah. I don't know, y'all. I don't know where they can go. How are we going to have the power of 3? Does this mean that Josefina ends up kind of getting it by default somehow? Maybe Macie's powers get transferred. Do they find a long lost half sister like they did with the original Charmed? There's possibilities, but it's also kind of like, let's just be honest. I mean, I wasn't really feeling this season. To me, this season really had some real shortcomings in terms of the consistency, in terms of the plotting. And so I don't really have a lot. And what kind of made me look past that was the Hasty moments, was the Macie character, was, Maggie too. And some of the stuff with Mel and Abby and stuff. Certain things with the characters. I saw the potential of this show. That's what I was going off of. I was going on, I see potential. And if the writers and stuff can kind of listen to the audience and pay attention to what we like and what we don't like, they can rectify this. So I was going with that. And now to see that the potential is just like, okay, that's not being realized. I just don't know. I don't know if that's, I don't think it's good enough. And they haven't showed anything. I mean, we can talk about, we talk about episode 17. Lady, you were saying you had some issues with episode 17. And I think this also kind of shows that they're still not doing a very good job with some of the plotting. I thought episode 17 was solid enough. I totally called the situation with Francesca, Abby's mother. I thought it was cool, Jordan and Maggie's fight and stuff. But I I still felt like for it to be the episode before the season finale, I still felt like it wasn't as epic as I thought it was. What do you think, lady?
Right. They did not do that right. I mean, like I said, the fighting scene between Maggie and Jordan was good. And then this thing he said some mean things to me. That was funny. And I just didn't understand if you're gonna free. Okay, like what's her name? The one that's from. What's the one name that they got out of the tomb, or they went to the tomb to see?
One of the other perfecti, yeah.
Okay, what happened to the other one? I didn't see him.
I don't know. I guess they just show. I mean, this could be another thing with casting. Maybe he couldn't come back for the episode. I don't know. But what were you saying?
But like I was saying, okay, when she told them, when they said they couldn't, that when they killed it, when they vanquished the other ones that came from the tomb, they always saw a mocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then my question is, why, if you knew this is a dangerous thing, you freeze it and then you crack it up?
And they don't sweep it up or anything.
Yeah.
They just
why do you have a container to put it in there, knowing this? I mean, come on, that's why I said that didn't make sense.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, no, I agree with you, lady. And this is the thing. The writing has made the girls make really dumb decisions throughout the season to keep the storyline going. I mean, it's the same question.
Dumbest one.
And this was the same question I had when I was like, why weren't they going to Celeste or some of the older books when all of this started to kind of get more information? They weren't going to anybody else in the magical community. The writing for this has been, kind of like certain things happening that they kind of ask you, yes, Pato. Pato feels the same way. She would.
They didn't even have a magical community.
The magical community appeared, and I kind of gave them space for that because of everything that was going on with the pandemic. To say, okay, maybe they can't have everybody there, but even by Zoom or something, you can't get people because y'all have the allergy. Why not do a video chat with someone to ask them questions or something? In terms of the other magic creatures, they were making them, there were just certain choices made that they had the characters make that didn't make much sense. And you can only turn a blind eye to, I'm not going to call it bad writing. I'm going to call it not well thought out writing. You can only turn a blind eye to that, but so long.
Yeah, you didn't think that all the way out. I mean, especially some of the plots that you put in here. I mean, some of the writing could have been a little better than what it was.
Yeah, and what you said about them not cleaning up the remnants of the Whispering Evil is a really good example of this. There's this thing that's left over. You don't know if it can melt or what. Why not sweep it up and leave it in the lab into a magical jar or something? It was such a sloppy way for them to behave.
Oh, that was so
which was really weird to me because Macie's character is so meticulous with things like that you would think one of them, Macie in particular, would be like, we should do something and make sure this doesn't get worse, because she usually is very, she prepares stuff. But then again, maybe this is an example of how they just haven't done right by the Macie character this season. I said it, right? I was calling this out. You can look at the previous streams where I said, I was like, I feel like they have really kind of put Macie in two modes this season, and it's really weird. I was just like, it's very like, it was like, what are they doing with this character? And I said, I was like, I have a real issue with it because I love this character and they're making it so she's not as likable. And I don't know, maybe they sensed she wasn't happy and they were kind of trying to set the stage for us to kind of like Maggie and Mel more or something. I don't know.
Even their plot lines isn't making sense.
It was lacking. This wasn't a very good season, if we're being honest about it.
Some things could have happened better than that. Yeah.
Jaws is saying, I think they should just recast her, Macie, to be honest. It's a waste to get rid of a whole character. What do you think, lady? I don't know. I love Madeline, but she'd have to be black, for one. Like, because this is another thing with my issue. I know Maggie Sarah is, a Black woman in a way too. But, you know, I think when it comes to representation, Macie was the one that was raised with that kind of childhood as a Black woman. And so we're losing that if Macie ends up leaving, because both Maggie and Mel were raised as Latino women. And so we're losing a character that was raised as a Black woman with Macie leaving. So I feel like if we were to recast her, it would have to be with that in mind. What do you think, lady?
Well, that's true too. That would have to be in mind.
Where's your light at?
Ain't my light here?
It's not on.
It is on. That's the one that Damien had on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Turn it up higher. Must be losing juice.
Mm-hmm.
Technical difficulty, y'all. We want to see our lady.
I thought I brought it. Here it goes.
But while she's doing that, let me kind of check through what some of y'all are saying. Josh, I don't know. I'd be down for a recast if it was a good recast. But I don't know if the Hasey's going to be the same. And that would be, yes, that's much better, lady. I don't know if the Hasey would be the same. And I really did like Hasey. And this is another thing. When you're invested in your ships and they get pulled from you, I've dealt with it on other shows, but it sucks when it happens. And I don't know if Hasey's going to have the same kind of thing if Macie isn't Madeline. So, you know, there's that. LMRJ is saying, I mean, it depends on how they handle it. If they pull the cousin as a Charm One card, I'm not going to watch it because when it makes sense. Now, Tony is saying, I stopped OG Charm when Prue was killed off. I plan to stop watching this version with the departure of Mads as Macie. I don't have issue with the actress. I have issue with the writers.
I don't blame you. But how curiosity, I gotta keep going. I mean, especially if it come back. I don't know when it's coming back. You never know. They could say it's not coming back. You know how things happen like that. Even though you pick it up, they might, you know, things are happening. You know, I understand that. But, you know, it depends. Like next week, this week coming is the last, the finale?
Yeah, it's 18 episodes. So next week, this Friday is the last episode.
It's the last episode. And like I said, they just did not give us good writing in this for the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, we was getting good ones, and then all of a sudden it was
very uneven. It's been a very uneven season. They'd have some good moments, and then it would just fall flat. And I don't know. They just never got their footing this season. And this is my thing when it comes to Mads, who plays Macie, is, the thing about actors is someone who lives in LA, they aren't going to turn down a consistent check. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to, because it can be hard as an actor to find consistent work sometimes, especially if you're not like an A-list type celebrity or something like that. And I just feel like this actress, she's been playing characters. She's been playing in shows before. She was in the Tomorrow People. I think it was not the Tomorrow People. What was it called? She was in that Julie Plex show that was short-lived. She's been in shows. And, I know some people are saying, oh, it's the commute or something like that. And maybe because of everything that's happened, she's just like, I don't feel like traveling this much for a show. I find that hard to believe that that's her sole reason, though. I just feel like if you are, because she's from London. She's from the UK. So
are they filming in Canada or what?
I think so. I think most of these shows, it's either Canada or Atlanta. Those are the kind of two places that shows tend to get. I know Vampire Diaries was Atlanta. The Flash is in Vancouver. So it's one of those things. So it's not out of her home. But this is the thing. If you are inspired with your character and you haven't been playing them for like 6 or 10 years or something, like, maybe Rick Grimes, right? He left. I was very sad when my Rick left the Walking Dead, but I also understood he had been doing the show for 8 years by that point. So yes, Rick was feeling like it was time. The actor Andrew, he had played it for almost a decade.
Role. Yeah, he could try to find roles like that.
Yeah,
people need to grow.
But you get what I'm saying. What I was saying was that he had played this role for 8 years, right? Mm-hmm. So 8 years, yes, I could see a character and he's from London too, and he has his family. He said he's like wanted to spend more time with his family and stuff like that. I could see that for 8 years of acting in the same character. And you might even become less inspired after that time. It's very hard for me to believe that only after 3 years that she suddenly was like, I just want to be home more type thing. I really do feel like I feel like, because that's what I'm saying, Ma. Some people are saying that might be the reason that she just didn't want to keep commuting. She's an actress. You know what I mean? I think this might have been, and this is just speculation, I think it might have been she wasn't inspired by the show as much anymore. And at some point, she just thought, why am I traveling and spending so many months away from my time and my home for something I'm not passionate about anymore? So I lean towards maybe she wasn't inspired by the way the writing was going on the show, more than just simply, it's been so long. It's only been 3 years. Let's be honest, you know, and when this first started, when the Charm reboot first started, all of them seemed super excited to be doing it. So it seems weird that 2 years later, she's just like, I got to leave the show. Right. You know, that's kind of weird. Madame Scorpio is saying it was the potential that drew me into the show too. And I'm disappointed because there was so much better they could have worked with. Just going through some of the things. Was there a favorite moment you had of this episode, lady?
I'm trying to think, what was my favorite moment? Man, was there a favorite moment in there? Not really. Oh yes, it was. When when Jordan and Maggie almost kissed.
Yes, we're gonna talk ship talk. I mean, this is kind of unorthodox stream, y'all, because this whole thing with Macie is just kind of overcasting it all. But that definitely was a great moment with Maggie and Jordan, and gives me hope. And I will say, the thing with Maggie and Jordan was the one thing that made me think, okay, maybe I'll watch this next season. That was the only thing that I was like, I kind of like where Maggie is as a character. I've been building up with this Jordan thing, and I'm just like, maybe. But I'm like, is it enough? Is it enough for me to sit through a whole season? Another thing that's going to determine it for me is what they do with Harry. I do not care to see Harry move on from Macie. This whole season was him willing to give up his immortality for what he considered the love of his life of Macie. They will not be able to put him with another character. That's just not going to happen. So what's either going to happen is that Macie's going to end up off screen somewhere, and they're going to have him pine after her while he's still working with the Charm ones, or he too goes. But I don't see him going necessarily, even though the actor, Rupert, is going to be on Bridgerton season 2. So he's also getting other work, you know? So the question is, how long is he going to be on this show? Because he's getting other work. Because when an actor gets another job on a series, that lets you know they're auditioning for other stuff, right? And that should be telling that this actor, Rupert, is auditioning for other projects. Right?
All of them is auditioning for other projects.
Well, no, you can't make that assumption because we haven't heard anything of. I mean, Sarah, she ended up back on, I think it was that Disney show, but she was on that before Charm started, so she came back, and that was a movie. It wasn't a series. And Mel, the actress who plays Mel, hasn't been in anything new, and so we don't know if they've been auditioning for other stuff. But we know for sure Rupert has, because he landed a gig. And if you are literally doing a show that takes up so many months of your time, because we know CW shows take up some time to film, that's weird, right? It's a little weird because you don't hear anybody from The Flash being like, oh, catch so-and-so. I mean, maybe a guest appearance, but people ain't going on whole other TV shows. So I think that should also be telling that maybe the actors are looking for other work. Maybe some of them aren't so happy with what is going on with their characters, that they're looking for other work.
Yeah.
You know, because it's hard to be on a set for hours on end. You work long hours on a set and you are somewhere else. To be having time to audition for other stuff, it's like, you're auditioning for other stuff? Like, you got time for that? Or are you trying to move on from something? I think that's something. Ray is saying I'm for a recast. Damien is saying, personally, I think they did a disservice to Macie's character since season 2, and Mads had issue with it too. Madame Scorpio saying, I'm mixed and I was raised by my black side, so it definitely matters. And I agree with that. I just think it's a different kind of characterization. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be for that.
Excuse me.
I'm just going through. Because the chat is popping. I want to make sure I know all of you have a lot of feelings about some of this stuff. Now Tony is saying, I have raised this issue before. The new showrunners did not appear to like women of color, like the women of color, the charm ones. The new showrunner arrived and focused on the character they created, Abby. Well, was it the new showrunners in season 2? I thought season 2 had different. Are they the same showrunners from season 2 to season 3? I thought they changed them, or is it the same showrunners from season 2 to season 3? I guess so. But yeah, that could be an argument that they ended up focusing on the Abby character more, and that was the character who happened to be white that they had created. Yeah. Season 1 writing was better. LMRJ is saying. A lot of people had that thought process that season 1 was their fave season.
Because that's when you first saw it, everything was just happening. For one thing, we didn't really have the pandemic then, but after when the pandemic came, I guess that's when the writers start filtering down.
Well, season 2 was a little hit and miss too, although I feel like season 2 had more hits than misses. And I feel like for whatever reason, season 3 had more misses than hits. It took so long for the show, for this season to rev up. And I don't think it ever really revved up, to be honest. I don't even know where we're heading with this final episode because I don't really know what the stakes are, really. They said, the Whispering Evil's not really gone, but that could have been avoided had they put the remnants of it in a magical jar. And it was like, why'd you just leave it there? Oh, that's right, because we needed another episode, and the writers clearly didn't know what else to do. And that just seems lazy to me. Natoni is saying the OG would have never introduced a person of color reoccurring character who overshadowed the charm ones. That's what happened here. Not the fault of Poppy, but of the showrunners. Deb is saying, I loved Abby and Macie working together. Those two should have been friends from the start. I agree. I actually, when they first was introduced, when Macie helped Abby, I was like, that's cool. She's going to have a friend. And they totally made her antagonistic to Macie, which was so weird that they juxtaposed these two characters that could have gone on really well. And I think that was one way that they did wrong, because they took so long to get them to kind of make amends that they also built up. I think the writers also fed into that animosity. Abby is a popular character, but she didn't have to be popular at the expense of making one of the sisters look so antagonistic towards her, which is what I said. I was like, I don't see why they keep having Macie harp on this Abby thing. Not because I didn't, and people thought that I was saying that Macie shouldn't be mad at Abby. That's not what I was saying. What I was getting at was that by the writers making it such a big deal every time, they are overshadowing what other things Macie could be focusing on. And it just seemed weird to have this character, our main sister, because in my opinion, I honestly thought Macie was the main sister, so hyper focused on a side character or a supporting character like Abby. And I thought it was a disservice to the Macie's character. Liliana is saying, I always felt people overreacted with season 1 reviews by getting new showrunners. Yeah, this also shows you what happens when, I don't want to say fan service, but I want to say but back in the day when we didn't have Twitter and things like that, and you the writers kind of just had to write, they couldn't go online and see immediately what everyone was thinking, to the point where they start tickering things. And then by next season, you'd have a whole other thing going on. They kind of had to stay the course because they didn't have the instant gratification of seeing what people were saying online. And let's be honest here, online talk is but a minority. And when I say minority, I mean in terms of the larger scale of the people who actually watch it, there is a silent majority who mostly watch shows. Those who are the loudest online are sometimes in the minority in terms of what the bigger part of the audience actually thinks sometimes. And that's hard for us, some of us, to grasp, because we always want to believe like, oh, we're like the reflection of what the audience is. But that's not always the case. You know, there's a way larger audience. As many as there are millions of people on Twitter, there are millions more that are not on Twitter or these social platforms. And I think that's why I'm always of the thing of let the writers write. You know, let them tell their story if there's a story to tell. Now, by now, we see that they're just kind of flying by and seeing their pans with this stuff.
Yeah, but not writing.
Yeah, but in season 1, they clearly had a path they wanted to take with this show. And instead of it being allowed to run its course, people listen to online sentiment way harder. And that's where we are for that. And I've seen it with other shows, you know. One of the shows I used to watch, Umbrella Academy, there was certain source material that people online were really just so mad about, even though in the source material it was already there. And the writers kind of did a 180 and they just kind of decided not to go that route with a very major plot line. And it was all because of the outrage that was happening online. And it was like, holy crap, if you have a story to tell it. And I guess this is why I probably prefer books more than TV shows sometimes, because at least with a book, it's all written. No one's going to switch the middle of the book on me because they went on Twitter while they were writing it, or someone read the first half of a book or something. So I think what we have is a show that's kind of lost its way. I don't think they know what they want to say with the show as much anymore. What do you think, lady?
Yeah, they lost their way. I agree with you on that. They did lose their way in the writing part. I mean, they started off good, all of a sudden just start getting sillier, and then it didn't have the logic in there no more. I mean, like in the OJ, at least you had logic and you had characters that you go, okay, look what just happened there. I mean, it had it where you never had a dull moment. Something was always happening. Something always popped up. And the writers did not come through with that, you know. I'm kind of, you know, like I said, this episode could have been a little better.
Yeah. Damien saying, when season 1 came out, it got so much hate, but who knew it would be the best? The creators of the reboot knew what they were doing with this show. This new set of writers and the execs don't. And this is what I'm talking about, fan service and listening to the loudness on Twitter. You know, instead of just telling your story, for better or worse, tell the story, finish it off, do what you have to do, instead of just checking on, and then look at what people say. Yeah. And this is the thing. You had a lot of people in the first season who had an agenda. There were some people who were never gonna like this reboot of Charm for their own reasons. Some of them
anyway.
Exactly. Some of them were based on race. Some of them didn't like the fact, and they didn't want to admit it, that there was, you know, people of color, particularly a Black woman and 2 Latina women at the time dominating. They didn't like that, you know. And then you had others who just, you know, they're just not fans of reboots in general. And we all can attest to that sometimes with our favorite type of shows. We don't want to see reboots. We'd rather you just continue our show, right? But there were going to be people like that were going to find everything wrong with this show. And instead of kind of allowing that to be the case and telling their story, they tried to course correct. And we went on what was a very shaky season 2 and an even shakier season 3. Ray is saying, CW, do not replace the character or recast her. Look at Batwoman. If they had recast Ruby, the show would have been better off. Hell, the fandom liked the new Ruby better than the original. She is way better. Although I will correct you a little bit, Ray. She's not Ruby though, right? She's a different character, although she's still Batwoman. I'm just going through what people were saying. But some of the major things that happened this episode, what we got was that the so-called vanquishing of the Whispering Evil, that wasn't really vanquished, as you pointed out, Ma. They did not do proper protocol with that.
They just messed that up altogether. I mean, when she froze them, and you know, she was saying, when he come back, he's coming back for everything that you did to him, and he's gonna remember everything that you now. You can't surprise him now with the fire. So it has to be something they're gonna try. I guess they're gonna have to figure out something else to surprise this thing with.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, they just did not do that right. They knew, how can you destroy something and think you destroyed it knowing that it's gonna melt? This is what I don't get it.
Yeah.
Instead, you let it drop in a bucket and put something over it so it can be contained. And you knew when you did Vanquish, you didn't see something. Come on, common sense. What I told you, go back, freeze it again, then catch it.
But the writers couldn't let that happen because we needed another episode of this.
We could have thought of another episode.
No, clearly they couldn't have. Madame Scorpio is saying, I thought Macie, you would surely have picked up the pieces, being that she's a scientist and the materials can change composition and still be viable. Exactly what I was just saying. Macie's a scientist of it. Why wouldn't she collect the materials? Why would they just leave it there and walk away?
They
made no sense.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Yeah. Liliana is saying, I feel like they messed with Macie's character way too much since the start of season 2.
They made her dumber.
Blue Wolf is saying, thanks for joining us in the chat. Blue Wolf is saying, if Macie is leaving, they just need to recast her. Well, it would seem, Blue Wolf, the writers or the showrunners did a response to the statement of Madd's leaving, and they were like, there's always room for Macie to come back, type of thing. So it seems as though they're not trying to recast her character. It seems like they're going to
put her away somewhere where Harry has to take care of her, or Harry got to try to get his powers. But somehow they're gonna put her off, and then somehow I think Josephina or wherever is gonna step in until she get better. And then somehow I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Yeah, I think there's going to be something like that going on. Either Macie's going to end up off screen for a while, like in the coma or something, like a magical coma, or trapped somewhere in another dimension. The only issue with putting Macie away, if you don't recast her, right? If you don't make it so Macie as a character stays and you don't recast her, what you're going to get, because for the past 3 seasons, Macie and the whole sisterly bond has been such a big thing, you're going to have a whole season 4 of them talking about how much they miss Macie. That is going to be a cloud over the whole season 4. Yeah. It literally is going to be a cloud over all of season 4 because she's such a huge character that if you put her away somewhere, they're always going to have to be referring to, oh, I wish Macie was here. Oh, if only Macie was here. It's going to be that. And if they don't do that, it would seem unrealistic because of all this big buildup of them being sisters and accepting each other and stuff. It's just such a weird conundrum to be in. I would say it's even, well, it's probably not as much. When Ruby Rose left the show, I thought the show wasn't coming back from that because I'm like, she is literally the main character. She is Batwoman. But yet they made it work. They brought in another Batwoman and they kept it moving. I don't know how they can do that with this one because that was after season 1. This is after 3 years with a character that has been so integral. Now, mind you, yes, they did it with Prue. They just brought in another sister and they focused in on the youngest sister, which is probably what they're going to do here. We're probably going to get even more focused on Maggie. She's going to come up as the main sister and we'll get some, either Josefina or we'll get some half sister that comes about somehow. While Macie's gone. And I didn't particularly care for that mix up, and I don't know for this either. So I feel like if they don't want to have it so that there's a cloud over them, they're either going to have to do a time jump so that it's been a few years or something, and maybe that cloud isn't over them as much of Macie being missing, or they're going to have it so Macie's still around, perhaps with a recast. Because if not, we're going to have a whole season of them missing Macie. And then we have another whole season that just feels like it takes forever to start up. I'm honestly, y'all, I just don't know how they're coming back from this. Because the show was on shaky ground to begin with. And I know for people who Macie wasn't your fave, you're probably like, well, it's okay. We'll just focus on Maggie and stuff. But the sisterly bond, Macie was like the main sister. So I don't know. I don't know with that. The other thing was Abby leaving. Do you think Abby's gone for good, Ma? Or do you think Poppy, the actor, will be coming back sometime? What did you think about Abby leaving?
Well, they might have bring her back for certain things if they need her. Like, if something happened, I think she's gonna pop back because I like that scene between her and Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're gonna bring her back.
I definitely saw the sparks there, but then again, I'm an Abby and Mel shipper.
Yeah, we know.
And yes, and I was definitely there for that. And I was kind of like, okay, are they having her go away storyline wise, or was the actress wanting to leave? I think that's my question too. Let us know in the chat in the replay, y'all. What do you think? Do you think Abigail leaving had something to do with the actor wanting to go and doing other projects, or do you think this was a storyline thing and this is what they always had in mind, to have Abigail leave for a bit? And are you okay with that, or what do you think? I feel like not a lot of us, but like I feel like some people would have been totally fine if Abigail left and we would have still had Macie, because they'd been like, finally, Abby's off screen for a bit, maybe we can refocus in on the charm ones. And then there's this doozy of both of them leaving. Two really strong, great women characters bouncing. So I don't understand that. Liliana is saying, I understand the sentiment because that's how some feel about Mel. So seeing people say they should end the show should end because Madeline decided to move on sort of hurts Blue. Who's Blue? Who's Blue? Just going through what are y'all saying? Lotus is saying, now the Whispering Evil already knows the power of 3 strategy with the demon power, so they have to come up with something new. The question is, are they going to have it so the Whispering Evil takes over Macie somehow? And now she'd be off screen somewhere. So,
but I think, you know what? I think it's going to have to do with that baby.
Yeah. Lola is saying, I don't get why people just want the show to be canceled now. I really want this show to continue. It's helped so many people in different ways. Well, I agree with you, Lola. I don't think the show needs to be canceled. I'm never for calling for the cancellation of a show, because people got jobs and people got to eat, and there's people who chose to stay and they want to continue with their work. I'm not for that. I also am not for necessarily. I'm also, I guess my thing is more so make your choice. You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm going to have to think about whether or not I want to return to the show, because my driving force was Macie for a bit, and Hasty, but more so Macie. I did come to really, really like Maggie as a character and her whole thing with Jordan, so I may want to continue for that. But I'm going to be honest with you, losing the main sister, who also was like the pronounced Black woman of the show. And you don't get a lot of shows sometimes with a Black witch. You know what I mean? Like a mainstream show, you just don't. And so I'm quite disappointed on the representation take. For myself, I'm not saying I want the show to be canceled. I'm just like, I feel like I've lost representation on this show. And I don't know. And the show's not strong enough in the writing department enough for me, because sometimes I don't need to always be represented on the show. If the show is strong and it's good writing, I will keep watching it. You know, I'll be like, well, I'm mad at that, but you know what? This is some good writing here. I need to see what happens. And I don't feel that way about this show. You know, I haven't felt that way since maybe mid-season 3. So for me, I have to say I don't want it to be canceled, because I know people got jobs, but I don't for myself. And I'm sure a lot of other people feel this way. They're not sure there's something, why spend 45 minutes to an hour of your time each week? Because, you know, life is life, you know, you got to live it, watching something that you're not super invested in on principle, you know? Jaws is saying, they trying to hold a door open, but if Madeline is choosing to leave, let her leave, just recast her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Madge TV is saying, just got on Macie leaving Charmed. I guess I am too. Yeah, I sorry that I broke the news to you, Madge, if you hadn't seen it online. But yeah, it looks like Madge is leaving. She said it was a difficult decision, but she said she's not trying to come back for season 4. There's a lot of speculation as to why. And it's not looking good. I don't know. I don't know if it's looking good for why your main character chose to leave. Oh, okay, Blue. She was talking to you. Sorry, Blue. I was like, who's Blue on the show? Did I miss something? Oh, Blue Wolf. Okay. Diane Williams is saying, thanks for joining us in the chat, Diane. Is saying, I'm wondering if Mads is pregnant. I actually just Googled, is Madeline Mantock? And the first choice was pregnant. So I think other people think this. Maybe she decided that she didn't want to be working on, but I don't know, because why would you leave a show for that? I mean, we see the actor that plays Mel stayed on. They could have she could have been like, okay, well, let me go have my baby and put me in a coma and then let me come back. She straight up was just like, I'm leaving the show. You know, now I want to take a sabbatical or something. I just want to go. Damien is saying, if Abby comes back and Macie is not on the show, I won't watch. It's like an insult to me. Sorry. I can see that. I understand that. Blue Wolf is saying, I'm too invested in this show to just walk away.
Yeah, that's what I said. I have to see it, you know.
Tevin is saying, I agree. As a black man, I was rooting for Macie. Yeah. Shamar is saying, they did Macie so wrong, which is why we're not as connected to her this season as we were previously. Lotus is saying, I don't trust the writers will handle this transition well, but I'll watch to see what happens. Damien is saying, the representation for Me Too is gone. Andrew is saying, I don't wait every week for most shows like ever, but I have come invested enough to watch every week, so I'm going to keep going. I can see that. I definitely, like, this is what I'm saying. If people want to keep going, totally do it. You know what I mean? I feel some type of way.
How to do this.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I feel some type of way about, there's like layers to my disappointment with this situation because of how they started treating Macie's character in season 3. That just, y'all saw, if y'all watched my streams, y'all know I was pointing out that something didn't seem right with the way she was being written. And I know, people thought that I was like, kind of having favoritism towards Abby. It wasn't that. I was like, they are writing Macie weird this season. And I pointed that out. I was like, they are writing Macie weird. Yeah. And she's my favorite character, so I noticed. And then for her to be the prominent black woman of the show, I feel some type of way about that. I've watched too many shows where the black woman who is the lead gets relegated to feeling like a supporting character in comparison to her white counterparts. And I just tend to not stay. I've learned enough to know for myself, speaking for myself, I don't stay around for shows like that. I've watched it happen too many times and I like my blood pressure low. So, you know what I mean? I don't want to get on and talk about a show that pisses me off all the time or something like that. And that Tani actually brought up, and I wanted Tani, you brought up, what was that show? Headless Horseman show. You know what I'm talking about, Ma. Yeah. With our girl was on it. She said it in the thing. It was the show you were talking about that came on Fox about the Headless Horseman and things like that. Sleepy Hollow. It was Sleepy Hollow. I stopped watching when I saw the writing on the wall for that too.
I really stopped watching when they took it off and then they bring it back and then they picked up somewhere. I'm like,
and then there was a switch. There was a switch with the writers, and what happened was the main black, for people who don't know, on Sleepy Hollow on Fox, you had a show where a black woman was the lead of a supernatural show, and then they brought on her white platonic partner's wife. Dead wife or whatever, and suddenly the wife was getting a lot of screen time and focus, and for whatever reason the black character, the female lead, the black woman lead, felt like she was relegated to the subplot. And when I started seeing that on the wall and also just paying attention to the behind the scenes stuff, I decided to check out. Even before she chose to leave the show, I decided to check out, and lo and behold, by the end of that, I think it was the second season, they killed off her character. They tried to keep going without her, and we saw where that went. It got canceled. People tuned out. This is the thing. You cannot underestimate the power of black women in fandom. We get overlooked a lot, but we are sometimes the silent majority in terms of people who watch shows. We are loyal to shows that treat us right, and we will act like women scorn, rightfully so, when you don't. You know what I mean? And we get on it. You know what I mean? And when you don't do right by us, like Color Purple, till you do right by
You will not have no good luck.
You will not have good luck. That's usually how that happens. I've seen it with plenty of shows that have treated their black women characters crappy or whatever, and because they draw in the black women with that character or one or two characters, and then they do a bait and switch on us, and they think we'll keep staying around for it. We don't. And then they realize that their majority of their base was those black women, and they feel some type of way, and then they learn a hard lesson. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening here with Charmed, but they could have done better with the Macie character, and they didn't. And that's a problem to me. Just seeing what some of y'all are saying. John is saying, I don't know. I must give season 4 in a few episodes to see if I'm going to stick around. If it's not a recast or a fourth sister, I'm not feeling it. Lotus is saying, layers to the disappointment is the best way to put it. Exactly. Liliana is saying, I got super invested in Charm because their advertised rep in Latin and LGBTQ representation. I stopped watching halfway through season 3 because I felt the representation was gone. I understand where some fans are coming from with this news. John is saying, I feel like they've been writing Macie weird since season 2, to be honest. Madame Scorpio is saying, nothing against Latina culture, but it's not the same as the black culture. The combo of the two was really exciting. Exactly. Andrew is saying, to be fair, my favorite Macie moment this season was when she punched that guy at the Magic Bazaar in the beginning of the season. Exactly. They started strong with the beginning of season 3, and then somewhere along the way, it just was like, okay, what's going with that? Yeah, Sleepy Hollow is what some of y'all are saying. Just trying to see what y'all, because the chat is, y'all are just, I'm trying to keep up. I know we all got a lot of emotions, so I'm just trying to keep up. Yes, madame, we angry black folks now. Exactly. They underestimate us in fandom. They really do, but we are loyal. We will go hard for a show if you treat the black woman character right. For those of you who are watching Titans, that is coming back in August 12th, season 4. No, I'm sorry, season 3. Season 3, I will be doing that. And one of my favorite characters on that show is Starfire, played by Anna Diop, who is amazing as an actress. And she is a black woman playing an alien from outer space, playing one of the most badass characters that also gets underutilized in DC Comics. But you saw that example with her in season 2. They were, they were kind of relegating her to a subplot in season 2, and people were not happy online and offline, I feel like. And I feel like what we're getting in season 3 is a rectification of that, with them focusing more on Starfire and her situation, because they understood they were losing a large base that they took for granted. And if you all are watching DC Titans on August 12th, be sure to check it out here, because we'll also be. And I also want to say, before we go further with everything, y'all, is if you haven't already, please give this video a like. It helps feed the YouTube algorithm monster, because it needs to be fed. And if you are feeling, like you want to spread some love, some super chat love, or ask a question that you want us to dive into a bit more, please don't hesitate to press that super chat button and give a donation. It's always appreciated as well. So lady, let me ask you a question. Let's talk a little happy thing, then we'll go back to the other stuff. Now Abby's gone. She might come back. What do you think is the fate of Maggie and Jordan? And what do y'all think is the fate of Maggie and Jordan, y'all? Do y'all think Maggie and Jordan will continue? Or do you think, I don't know, maybe Jordan character might leave? What do y'all think? I don't know what's going on with this show. It feels like they're losing.
It looks like they need to put them together and see how, this is going to work out. I hope they do let this work out with them, because, they understand each other and they get in there. Let it get there for once. Let it start off right. But if they're doing this, like I said, it depends on how they do the final episode. Are they going to make me want to come back because something like, looking forward to it. Trying to see what's going to happen there. But I hope Jordan and Maggie get a chance.
I do too. They might be my main reason for sticking around.
Yeah, just to see
they really built them up, and I'm just like,
I said, okay, I'm going to kiss. And then when I said, damn it, why couldn't she come in after they kissed?
I know. I was so annoyed. I'm like, why are they drawing this out? When are we going to get a kiss? Jeez. And they did the same thing with Hasty. This is another thing that pissed me off. We could have had a full-blown Hasty relationship from middle of season 2 to season 3.
But wait a minute. When Abby was saying goodbye to me, I said, okay, kiss her.
Right? And I saw that. I saw that tension there.
I said, okay, kiss her. And then, I just said, well, just for old time's sake, I mean, this is goodbye, so kiss her. I said, they ain't going to let that happen, huh?
You know what was... Okay.
When she hugged her, I said, okay, I can take the hugging part. But I think it should have been a kiss part.
Yeah. What do you think, lady? I had something with that. Did you notice? Was it kind of glaring to you that Ruby wasn't around?
Ruby's never around at certain moments.
But like, you get what I'm saying? Like Mel is going into labor. Why didn't she contact Ruby?
She's not there. That's what I was saying. Now where is Ruby? When she said, "Oh," I said, "Okay, where is Ruby at this moment? At this time? How did she get there fast?" I said, "Whoa. Where did Ruby go?" But then they explained that Ruby had to go and take care of her mother. Her mother was sick.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's
convenient.
That was the explanation we got. That Ruby's mother was sick and she had to go take care of her, or either Ruby would have been there.
Yeah. Ray is saying, I can say as someone who identifies as Black and Latino, and lives in that space, it's super rare to have those stories told and represented, and that's why I love Macie. Damie is saying, Matt said on her channel she was excited to go back to work and she's fond of her character while in Vancouver before they started shooting. My suspicion is that Matt don't want to take their BS on her. Don't take their BS on her. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a thought that season 3 was just kind of like her last straw and she didn't like where things were going, maybe? Lotus is saying, they truly fumbled the bag with Macie's character, and it sucks that she's leaving on a low note. Deb is saying, I am curious to see how they're going to fill the void of Macie's character. Yeah.
I think everybody's going to be curious about that.
Right. John is saying, child, Ruby ain't ever around. They need to recast her too if these scheduling problems keep coming up. Exactly. If they just bring a new Ruby in. I don't know. I just feel like they need to do a cleaning of house or something. Ma, do you think there's a chance that Mads may come back? That the actor that plays Macie might return if maybe she feels like, if it's the reasoning that she's leaving is because of the writing of the show and her just not feeling passionate about it. Do you think there's a chance she might come back if they can entice her? Yeah,
I think there's a chance if they could entice her and give her a good story, give her character the good storyline that she deserved. I think they would, she would come back.
Yeah. Liliana is saying, I don't think it's scheduling problems with Mel and Ruby being but more so Mel and Ruby being an afterthought of the show. Lola is saying, I don't like Ruby and Mel. Yeah, we got more Abby and Mel this episode, even though Abby's leaving. So, and didn't the writers say somehow that season 4 was like Mel's love life was going to be so messy and crazy and stuff? I don't know how that's going to be the case if Ruby is hardly around and Abby seems to be gone. How messy is her love life going to be and how? And is it going to be all new people? Like, why build up these 2 other characters if you're going to bring in other people?
Right now they're going to, I guess we have to see how this ends, what the finale is going to come in at. And we're going to have to deal with what's going on and just, see what's going when they come back. Because right now when they go on that finale thing, I guess that would give the writers some time to think, give the actors some time to think. They're on their little hiatus or whatever. And then maybe they really realize that they have to bring Mel character back. I mean,
Macie character, yeah.
Macie character back a little more stronger than what it is. Because somehow I think they're going to have it where she's in something. And somehow the
that they have to bring her back.
Yeah, and with him, but with Harry.
Yeah.
So somehow Harry got
because he's gonna have to be off for a while. I don't know when they're filming the Bridgerton stuff, but he might have to be gone for a bit too if he's off somewhere filming Bridgerton.
Yeah, they might have it where they both go off, and for him to save her, he have to go with her, and then they probably bring her.
Yeah,
it could work out like that if they
could.
Right,
they could keep them together as a couple, but have one of them off screen. I think they did the same thing with Arrow, right? Felicity, the actor that plays Felicity, she left, I think, for the final season, but they didn't break them up. I think they just kind of kept her off screen somewhere else or something like that. Something they did. I didn't really watch the show like that, I must admit. But she was like off screen. She was like the main woman character, but for the final season, she wasn't there. But she just was kind of away somewhere else. Andrew is saying, I didn't really ship Abby and Mel until Abby admitted her feelings during the trial. Then I was a heavy shipper of Abby and Mel. Thanks for joining the ship, because it is a very good ship. They have so much chemistry, but now Abby's gone, Andrew. So I don't know, right? Like, where are they going? Like, the only thing that seems a surefire bet to me right now is Maggie and Jordan. And I don't even know how long Jordan's going to stay on. The actor that plays Jordan is kind of a hot commodity on Broadway. So he may not want to stay, depending on how things go with that, right? Madame Scorpio saying they better give us a black white lighter. Jordan. I want Jordan, yeah. Johns is saying they need to change showrunners again. Liz and Craig's ain't cutting it no more and never was. Lotus is saying Abby and Mel were my fave ship after Hasty, and now it seems like both of them are gone. Exactly. I just don't know where they're going. They kind of, they've kind of written themselves in a corner. I don't know. I also wonder if they did enough to keep Madeline wanting to stay. I wonder, you know what I mean? Like, actors have wanted to leave shows before. And it's like, usually if the showrunners and stuff really think someone's important enough, they usually try to go above and beyond to make them stick around. And I just wonder if it was kind of like one of those things like, okay, you want to go, we'll figure it out, And I'm like, you should have worked harder to keep her. I mean, unless it was some serious thing that she was just like, I need to leave for health or something like that. It seems kind of weird. Shamara saying, I honestly don't think they are bold enough to recast Macie. And Lola is saying, we need the season 1 showrunners back. Lola is saying, Jordan will make a great white lighter, but it would be sad to have him die after just getting rid of the curse. Yeah, I don't want him to die. I want him to be able to live his life, because it's kind of gotten derailed with all of this. Liliana is saying, wouldn't it be something if the sisters all end up single at the end of the series? Yeah. Madame is saying, Rupert was the big name and it shows. Look at the preview of the finale. Where are the sisters? Yeah. And that goes back to the other thing that people had issues with, where it was like, here you have the women of color, charm ones, and yet the white guy is kind of the central focus for some of these previews. And it's like, what's going on here? Not that I dislike, Rupert at all. I love my Hasty, but it does show sometimes how they treat certain characters. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. How do you think the season's going to end, lady?
You mean the finale?
Yeah, the season finale is this week, right? How do you think it's going to end? Do you think they're going to incorporate this thing in with Macie? Because I kind of feel like Mads made the decision after they finished filming.
I think so. Because somehow they were showing the clips. So I think Mel go into something, and Harry got to try to save her. So that's why he's trying to try to get his powers back, but he have to die. So I don't know how they're going to do that. And then they didn't really. And then also, she's having the baby. So I think the baby has something to do with trying to get rid of the second half, because if she didn't come back, it got something to do with that baby. So that could be the surprise to get rid of the whispering. But like I said, if they do all that, if they leave it, like I said, it's gonna be if they make it right, it could be a great cliffhanger for us to see, to make sure that we come back to season 4 to see what's gonna happen from there. So if they make it good enough, it make people want just for the hell, just to see how it's gonna come back, and how they're gonna do this with Mel and Harry, and she's having the baby. So how is all gonna tie in? So we're gonna have to wait. That could be the cliffhanger right there. She get ready to have the baby. Macie go into something, and Harry got to try to save her, so he's gonna end up dying. And then you never know; they could just end it like that. We don't know if he died or what happened. If they do it like that, we would just have to wait. You know. So I think that is what's going to happen. If they could do that, if they come to the part where all stories of the baby, Macie, the whispering evil, and Jordan and what's his name, all get involved in that. And like I said, if Harry got to die to get his powers, you never know. It could be too late, but then it just goes off there. Because that's going to be that cliffhanger. They're going to make you want to come back and see how they're going to continue for season 4.
Yeah.
Is it season 4 or 5?
Season 4.
Okay, season 4. So we have to see where it goes from there, how they're going to write into this.
No, that sounds like a really good one. What do y'all think in the chat and also in the replay? How do you think they're going to end this season? Do you think they're going to incorporate Macie, the actor that plays Macie leaving? Do you think that might be something that happens off screen as we go into season 4? Let us know what your thoughts are. I do think, Mon, that they could do this right enough. I don't trust them to stay consistent. But they could do something to make it so that it stays enticing for season 4 to see where it goes.
Give it to the one part where you do have a good cliffhanger that you're going to go, oh, man, for real? You're going to end it like that? And then have you want to come back to see how they're going to do that for season 4. How they're going to come back in, trying to draw everything that they're trying to, on that finale into that, to the beginning of season 4.
Yeah. Andrew is saying, unpopular opinion, I wouldn't mind Josefina becoming a charm one. I would be so annoyed by that. I would. I'm sorry. I thought that character became really annoying very quickly. And I wouldn't be for her suddenly becoming power of 3.
Think about it.
They might do it, but I think they'd piss off a lot of people because that character is not
but
that
like
much
said,
liked.
If they make it to the point where she's just there temporarily to help out for the time being, but Macie and Harry have to do something. Like I said, if they do it right, we'll come back to see season 4 just to find out what happened to Harry and Macie.
Yeah.
And what happened to the whisper, if they destroy the whisper and the baby's coming in at that moment. Because she's going to have that baby.
Yeah. Shamara saying Josefina as a charm one would be too convenient.
True.
I mean, they could try it, but I mean, I think some people, like I said, there's so many layers to it. With Macie being the more prominent sister, being the black sister too. The sister that was raised black. I don't know. There's so many things that just is that just deflated me, y'all, when it came to Charmed. I was just like, wow. I kind of looked forward to season 4 just because I thought maybe if they listen and kind of reassess this season, they'd come back stronger for it. But I don't really think that's going to be the case. So I don't know.
We got to give them their benefit of doubt. I hope they're listening.
We've been giving them benefit of doubt all season.
Some people just don't want to listen the right way. They want to do it their way. They want to see how they messed up. You go, see, you should have followed what I was telling you.
Yeah.
I could write the story for you. Write me, Karen Robinson. I could write your story for you.
You had some good ideas for the final episode, so yeah.
Yes, give me it. I could give you the I could do that. I'm kind of hoping for a soul swap.
Yeah.
No, Lola.
Lola say, I'm kind of hoping for a soul swap or a fourth sister. The soul swap would have a recast, and they'd kind of be able to. But then you'd have to have an actress that would basically pretty much have to be mimicking Matt's performance as Macie. I don't know.
Yeah,
they really have to.
You can find a similarity, a person
you
that
could
look like her, because they did that to somebody else. That brought it back, but it was like, it was her. They made her the character that person, but you saw the similarity of, but you knew it wasn't her. I forgot what series that was.
Yeah,
but they somehow, they like they said something like, "Oh, you changed in some way,"
Mm-hmm. They do it in soap operas all the time. Remember?
Oh my God! You look, they bring people back there. What wasn't he playing? No. That wasn't.
No, he's now Adam.
Yeah.
Soap operas always someone just comes in. Oh, hey, Adam, and you just kind of go with
it. Go with the flow of it. They could.
I'd be used to it.
But they're gonna have that.
I'd accept that quicker than I'd accept Josefina becoming the third sister.
Yeah, but they'll bring somebody that's similar to her, act like her, similar to her in some way, feature wise.
Mm-hmm. Damien is saying, I doubt they'll kill her off, but to be honest, I'm not excited about the finale. I'll watch just to see how they decided to write off my fave character. I wonder if they're going to even show that, to be honest. I mean, the question is, when did season 3 wrap? And did the writers know before that, or were they notified like yesterday when Matt, or just past week when Matt put out the statement, when they made the decision? Did they go out of season 3 maybe in negotiations? So we may not see a reflection of Macie being gone. That may not be what we see. We may not see that. Ray is saying, if they replace a black sister with a trans sister as the same, I'm done. I'm going back to Fort Salem. Hopefully we see Queenie again on American Horror Story. I mean, that's also a controversial take, because there is the whole thing of a black woman, and, it shouldn't be traded out, right? Like, you should be able to have black representation, and then you can also have, all other types of representation too. And I think for myself as a black woman, I don't have an issue necessarily with the idea of, like, let's say if it was a trans woman who happened to be black. Okay, sure. It's just the more so the thing of, to me, it's losing that black aspect of it that was prominent in Macie a bit more, that I'm just not okay with losing. Lotus is saying, a fourth sister would be super messy. What other secrets does the mom have? I think that John's saying, I think they knew for a while now. She even did an interview for TV Line about what she did, but that was the exclusive, right? John's, they did an exclusive thing that they just leaked out today. So I don't know if they've been sitting on it for months, so, unless they had to do some reshoots or something like that. I don't know. Lola is saying they stopped filming in May. So, yeah. Maybe they did know, but Shamara is saying, I'd rather see another sister than a recast or Josefina as a charm one, in all honesty. Andrew saying, honestly, we don't know what's going to happen. All we know is that it won't be satisfying with Macie gone. Very true. Liliana is saying, it sucks feeling like we can only get a limited amount of representation in shows. It's been 21 years into the new millennium. We should be past those feelings. Exactly. It shouldn't be a quota. It shouldn't be, oh, you got a black girl, so you can't have this kind of person. Oh, you got an Asian on the show, so you can't have a black girl. It doesn't. Why does it have to be?
It have to be like
either or.
It's a diversity. Everybody, it's real out here. We're diversified. We're not just one color.
Yeah.
Or one set of people.
But you know how it is. With people of color, they always have I made this joke one time when I said, on other shows, it's usually like if you have a black guy on the show, and if it's like a show where it's predominantly white people, if you have a black guy on the show, it's very hard to get a black girl on the show. If you have a black girl on the show, then you're not guaranteed to get a black guy. Like there's a quota. Like you can have as many white people as the day is long. But if you have like one Asian person, You're not gonna have, and it's an Asian guy, you may not have the Asian girl. Like, we're not allowed to be in 2s or 4s on a show that's so-called mainstream, which is so weird to me. And that's why I like this show, because it was heavily diverse. But yeah. Just seeing what some of y'all are saying as we tie this up. Lola is saying, I love Josefina. I want her as a series regular, but not as a Charm one. Yeah. Blue Wolf saying they can make it where Dexter had a child, with another witch. Madame Scorpio saying we are multicultural and Black comes in all shades of beautiful. Exactly. Deb is saying they still have 2 Black characters, Jordan and Maggie, but Macie and Jordan were the 2 that actually represented their Blackness. Exactly. And this is what I'm saying. It's like we lost the Black woman that represented that Blackness. Yes, we still have Jordan, but now we don't have a magical witch. And I want a magical Black woman witch. I don't think that's too hard to ask for. We got white witches out the wazoo in popular culture. You know what I mean? Which is crazy to me. You know, I'm feeling some type of way, y'all. I'm sorry, but I don't know. All right. So what we have right now with what's happening in this season is that the Whispering Evil is not gone because they didn't do proper cleanup. And it seems like Mel has gone into labor. So those are the 2 major things that are happening. So I guess we'll see in the final episode and what kind of decision that Harry makes when it comes to it. Yeah. So.
But wait a minute. But I like that part when when Maggie was being from nice to nasty with Harry, and she said, "What fool would give up his power to be you?"
She was talking real talk to him, and he was like,
"Hello," and that's true.
She was like, "You're useless. Who does that?
Who does that?" I mean, that was the truth, and he should have realized that. He can't do nothing. He can't zap out. He should have realized that I will only be a burden.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they do right by this.
Yeah. Blake is saying, I tried to have this convo with a friend using the Coolest TV Show as an example. 3 out of 5 main cast members were Black, and they never felt the need to change that. Hollywood has gone backwards.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a response to the climate right now where, you know, we have a country that is somewhat deeply divided. So maybe they're placating to certain segments that they don't want to completely turn off. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So let me see. Anything else y'all are saying? Damien saying Macie fit the part best as a Black woman. Yes, and I agree with you, Andrew. Harry's turning mortal storyline is completely pointless now. So
sense.
I don't know. I don't know.
He couldn't be no help.
Didn't make any sense to begin with that had Macie stayed around or not, but it really doesn't make sense now if they make it so they don't end up together somehow. So that tells me they're probably going to do something where she ends up banished somewhere, and the whole thing is maybe Harry has to go on a journey to get her back, and maybe he'll be a reoccurring character as he is trying to get her back while doing other stuff. Because let's be real, had they gone and made him mortal, what would he have really had a storyline to do except be Macie's boyfriend? So now that Macie's gone, do they make him a white lighter again? Maybe, but now he's just back to being a white lighter. And it's like, okay, we've been there, done that with you too. And now we don't got this love story going on. So what are we doing? Because I sure as heck don't want to see them pair him with someone else. I don't want to see that. So I don't know, y'all. Let us know in the replay what your thoughts are. It's a really big news for the Charm fandom. We all, I think, we're very excited to get a season 4, but now who knows what that season 4 is gonna look like? I don't know. I'll let y'all know if I'll be trying to do season 4 recaps, but it's probably gonna depend on what happens, how they end this season, what they're going to do with Macie's plot line, what they're going to do with Harry. My condition is they can't put Harry with someone else. That's my condition. I don't want to see Harry end up with anybody else, and I will not watch the show if that's the case, because I ain't trying to sit through that. And yeah, not sure, y'all. I mean, I've enjoyed this with y'all for season 3, for better or worse, because I haven't been loving this season either, but I pushed through because of the potential. But I don't know how much I can push through if like one of my main characters and Abby are just not there, because I just don't see where they can go with this that can draw me in every week to feel compelled to talk about it. But we'll see. So until then, y'all, stay safe, try to stay positive out there. And I guess we'll see what happens on the season finale next week.
Yes, and we'll talk about it.
All right. Until then, y'all, have a good night.
Be safe.